It is currently 2:58 p.m. Starting at 2:57 p.m. Couple of seconds. Negligible difference regarding what is the stationary presence of a fake sun that's not leaving from 2:57 until 2:58, as I documented on February 24th, 2024. At 2:57 p.m. Again, today is February 25th, 2025. So this is documentation regarding the specific environment that does remain at Woodside Senior Apartments in Ontario, California. So with regard to the P.O.C, I'm capturing, let me show you what remains. Impossible light activity. That's coding the recognition of what is a facilitating venue and not a private space. The demon in unit number 55 is amplifying ongoing noise while the demon is pacing. This is a psychopath that's going crazy as it is in anticipation of what it is I'm going to capture, more evidence that is on my phone, that demon is keeping under surveillance. She's going to a mental asylum for gang stalking and also for keeping a communication device under surveillance. And AVANATH Capital Management is also being prosecuted for the ongoing criminal interference with quiet enjoyment as a gang stalking landlord that is also profiting while engaged in the pattern of conduct with the state and the entity that lives on its property to maintain a criminal system of surveillance, which is an exceedingly violent sex offense where no sunlight is going to create this diagonal trajectory of light underneath the covered structure. The patio furniture is appearing at an angle. This is the upright chair that you'll see on the patio, and this is engineered light that is coating concentrated on the glass door, which is not the product of the sun that would be over my bedroom window in Los Angeles at the same time. And this is where stalkers are identified. Again, the name of the defendant that is continuously incriminating the people of the state who is going to a mental asylum. This is the demon that is stalking and engaging criminal surveillance. This is the state of California that's remaining inside of unit number 55. And it is the prosecution of AVANATH Capital Management, AVANATH Capital Management's employees at the venue, and AVANATH Capital Management's third parties whom it is engaging in a sex offense in violation of the Violence Against Women Act, or criminal stalking, psychological torture, federal stalking under Title 18, and also engaging in that which is intended to obstruct justice relevant to what is technical abuse as I enforce my rights and capture evidence on my communication devices and publish it on the venue of the internet where I am kept under surveillance by the same defendants that represent the same gang stalking company, and they become one because they are one entity targeting together at the facilitating venue on the venue of the internet with the government, engaging what is also profiting while it's underway on your property. The company is not maintaining any isolated or separate identity under the law where you're prosecuting the government that's acting with the entity that provides its properties, provides its customers, provides its business itself as a means, including the customers at AVANATH Capital Management, Woodside. It's the very residents who are demon possessed. That's what's also being known and exposed, demon possession, but also the criminal system of federal group stalking and monitoring, where you have companies and properties and the population itself vicariously acting on behalf of the government. It's the prosecution. This is the demon that's pacing with simultaneity to my gathering my evidence together. And this is the demon who is being documented, Tracy Banks. This is a psychopath that was gang stalking me at 3 o'clock in the morning in concert with the same demon. She was not sleeping either. She was monitoring while the demon was engaged in what is harassment, while the entity is inside of a private space at a facilitating venue, engaging in a sex offense, engaging in what is harassment, psychological torture, and this is because of the practice of witchcraft, which is the product of this criminal system. Federal group stalking and monitoring, and this practice of witchcraft is also shown. Oh, let me be clear. This is the demon in unit number 55. Her license plate is 5WUB715. Documentation of impunity and malice is ongoing in psychological torture and criminal obstruction of justice by monitoring evidence. This is relevant to the state's conduct. And I want you to see here, this is the very building that I'm touching where the fake sun is remaining over this specific building. This one right here that I'm honing on and I'm touching. You can see the dots on the screen. This is where the fake sun is remaining over, while I will remind you about what happened with this fake sun on February 24, 2024 at 2:57 p.m. when I'm starting this video at 2:58 p.m. Should I see this? Stalking. These are the third-party group stalkers. This is a picture of Malice. Hi, Malice, because you're looking at the specific environment. They're group stalking at the facilitating venue. I want to be clear. She's pacing while she walks away from her vehicle and then walks back to her vehicle. She knows that she's being documented on my device, just like the demon in 55, who is not the creation of the cracking sound of a ceiling and walls. This is a demon that is stalking and stalks with impunity. This is going to the time that Linda Reyes is indeed going to federal prison. Linda Reyes continues to act with impunity, and the federal judge is going to sentence her and prosecute her on all the evidence that she is gang stalking me with the entity where she's working. She's being prosecuted for that. And she is monitoring this evidence, and she continuously acts with impunity with the same knowledge that this demon in the parking lot under a fake sun that's hovering over my bedroom window at Alvarado Gardens at the same time that it's hovering over one building at Woodside Senior Apartments in Ontario, California, is engaging in that same exact POC. This is pacing as she walks away and then back toward the vehicle. Be clear, this is a demon. This is demonic activity. She didn't forget anything. She's not checking on her car. What she's doing is she's creating, when they move around in the engineered environment, they're creating activity, and they also know that they're being documented. You're going to look at the impossible light activity behind the car. That's light that's manifesting in the shade. This is light that's manifesting on the shade in the back, on the shade on the building. This is the light source over the property, the address of Alvarado Gardens. Okay, so this is the fake sun that's hovering over my bedroom window. My address at this time a year ago is 1806 North Alvarado Street. And this is, again, speaking to the impossible occurrence that the sun would ever be in this sort of position to create the sunlight that you see where it is remaining, first of all, over the apartment building, and where demons that are living and exposed as engaging in what is domestic terrorism and psychological torture because they are conspiring to murder me, which is the system that the city of Ontario practices and that the entire property at Woodside Senior Apartments is being prosecuted for, particularly while psychological torture is underway by the entity remaining in unit number 55, who is also simultaneously beating on the floor like one that's going to a mental asylum where she belongs. Again, license 5WUB 715, beating on the floor, which is a means of audible activity in the engineered light with the intent to obstruct justice, which is, again, speaking to mental instability, because no demon-possessed gang stalker is going to stop the federal prosecution, where the federal prosecutor is, I'm literally being commissioned to expose them by name, license plate, image, location, address, government department, etc. And this is a psychopath that is demon possessed. This is the character of Satan that's beating on the floor. That's why she's going to a mental asylum, by the way, where you are engaging in that which is not, it's serving only to put you away for longer. And that's going toward Linda Reyes' federal prosecution, the criminal prosecution of corrupt actors like Daryl J. Carter, who was fully engaged and knowingly engaged in the system of federal group stalking and monitoring, while a fake sun remains over a venue where he is the chairman and CEO of this landlord company that's managing, where the crime scene for domestic terrorism and psychological torture remains underway. This is, again, not shared. What's outside of my bedroom window is not hovering over the units 33 through 48 in alignment to me inside of building 51, and it's certainly not creating any sunlight on the patio glass door of this apartment where I remain, like you just saw seconds ago. And what remains here rapidly changing. You can see the shadow of the chair disappearing. The fake sun did not go anywhere. This is speaking to the laser-like light activity where a demon is engaging in beating and pacing around, which is to monitor, and it's also to monitor federal evidence that's going to be submitted in federal court, as I am in real time narrating ongoing impunity by the state that is gang stalking. All right. Engaging in what is impeding with the federal investigation. That's more time that Linda Reyes, for example, is going to be subject to. She is gang stalking on the job at 3:06 p.m. She is under no circumstances constitutionally protected, and she continuously acts with such impunity while you're looking at what is impossible, that any sunlight that's going to be touching this patio glass door, when the rapidly disappearing shadow of the chair, and none of this is light activity that's ever going to naturally occur. Neither will the sun, as I want to show you here, neither will the sun be present at one address while it's remaining over the same apartment building. And my upright shadow, you saw the video that I already published today. And this is where the fake sun is remaining. I'm going to flash through because I just want you to see the light source, and it's going to be over the same exact building hours later, while I'm reminding you about what was remaining over my apartment on February 24, 2024, which is same time of year, same time of day. analysis for proving domestic terrorism of a demonic nature designed to psychologically torture an American citizen whom the entity regularly is criminally defaming as a means of the intent to kidnap and murder that American citizen, falsely depict their character, while the government itself is abusing its authority under the law, while it's simultaneously gang stalking directly and vicariously through the mentally ill, like the demon in unit number 55. Okay, I want to be clear, the simultaneous conduct of the pacing, which began right now as I start gathering my evidence to capture video, is simultaneous, and that's not a coincidence when you are capturing the POC. All right, here's the fake sun that is not over my bedroom window in Los Angeles. And what is over my bedroom window in Los Angeles is not creating any sunlight underneath a covered structure in Ontario. What is over this same building at Woodside Senior Apartments in Ontario, California is never going to be is never going to be over or outside of my bedroom window in Los Angeles, California at 1806 North Alvarado Street. That's what I documented today. While the demons at Alvarado Gardens, who are all going to federal prison, just like the demons in units 33 through 64, who act with impunity with the intent to obstruct justice, where their criminal and malicious engagement in domestic terrorism with the state of California is fully exposed, and such murderous and violent sex offenders engage in a pattern of seeking to obstruct justice, which is adding more time to each one of their terms in federal prison. All right. Maintaining, again, concentrated presence where I'm at inside of my apartment. And you're also going to pay attention to an ongoing impossible occurrence. You're seeing how the light is appearing today. Yesterday, when I showed you what is over my head at Alvarado Gardens is not creating any sunlight on the patio, glass door. It's not creating any sunlight on the ceiling. Never is this the product of sunlight, and it's not creating any sort of sunlight whatsoever inside of this apartment in Ontario. And the sun is not going to sit idle over one property, one building at one property. And neither is the behavior of those that are in that environment anything that is normal with regard and healthy with regard to human beings. This is exposure of the demon possessed, who are in need of being physically restrained, who are in need of being placed in mental asylums, who are in need of being placed in federal prison based on the national security threat that they pose. And again, this is a psychopath that is a violent sex offender that's also worshiping my genitalia. And it is the admission of the company itself engaging in a sex offense. It's the admission of the entire property engaging in a sex offense, also in violation of this HUD regulated property regarding the Violence Against Women Act. They're all losing their housing benefits in doing so. You're remembering the entities gang stalking me with Ontario police at 11:40 in the morning with the demon in unit number 42, while this same demon in unit 55 maintains her chief role in stalking and monitoring with the intent to psychologically torture with every bit of evidence that I continuously document. And they did so with the criminal purpose to retaliate on that day, which is at 11:40 in the morning, where the fake sun was over the same building. I want to be clear, the current time is 3:10 p.m. This is idle presence of a fake sun where a delusional psychopath that is mentally unstable shares the same mental condition with regard to the demons who are practicing a surveillance system of a highly criminal nature. And it's also very highly secretive, but it's not a secret anymore. When the demon's secret is exposed, there you are able to see in plain view the threat that they are to you, the threat that they are while they hold positions in government and politics, as celebrities that target American citizens. Celebrities don't need to know you in order to practice witchcraft. They know who you are in the spirit. And this is exposing a criminal system that's practiced in the state of California. It is a violent sex offense, and it's the admission of worshiping my genitalia and doing so. This light source that's over me in Ontario, California, at Woodside in unit number 51 would never be in a position to create any sunlight on the inside of my apartment, nor does sunlight appear on the inside of structures like this. This is the P.O.C. The pattern of the blinds that was appearing, multiple shadows of the blinds that were appearing and also appearing on this wall over here. And in addition, you also know you're aware of the fact that at nighttime light coming from anywhere on the ground is not going to create the pattern of the blinds here. And that's what I was referencing this morning while Tracy Banks is engaged in the pattern of harassment, interrupting sleep with regard to, this is a witch that's monitoring me in my sleep in concert with the entire entity. They're all demons, okay? Witches and warlocks are monitoring me, engaging in witchcraft, and the entity sought to put a contract out on my life, essentially, while gang stalking me. That's because the entity plans to murder and kidnap me. And now while this system of this gang stalking system is exposed, the entity is still gang stalking to date, which is relevant to how each one conspiring to murder, engaging in gang stalking, like the entire venue at Woodside Senior Apartments, is going to be facing time in prison, units 33 through 64 and AVANATH employees. The entity is engaging in what is the ongoing interference with an investigation. while the demon moves to be over me at the patio glass door and moves from being over the couch, okay? That's audible activity while the demons who are witnessing their public exposure and the demise of their secret system, and they're still engaging in that targeting system as one entity under a fake sun that's not creating any sunlight in an apartment in Los Angeles, California on the 3rd floor, facing Alvarado Street at the same time. All right.
When you're looking at what's supposedly sunlight here, but I want to show you this. Here's my shadow that's appearing up here as well. And it's more than one shadow.
Okay, that's the impossible light. This is the pattern that you are aware of, that I document on an ongoing basis. In the same way, you have the multiple shadows that are a product of what it is that I'm documenting on an ongoing basis, like I've already documented here. So this is, again, speaking to multiple shadows that are appearing upright at an angle, upright on a living room wall, and doing so while I open the glass. And this is the maintenance of that light source over the same apartment building where it was at 11 o'clock in the morning. You literally have a stalker that is admitting to be one, as the federal government recognizes the evidence as it is shown clearly through, and most potently through, the specific environment, that which defies nature, and so does the behavior of those who are gang stalking. This is the spirit of Satan that is enveloped within human beings who are a threat to the national security while they are all over this property, gang stalking. Okay, that's the entity that's acting with impunity as well. Their shadows move across the patio glass door while psychopaths who are worshiping my genitalia pace around like this under a fake sun all day long, and they're actually focused on me. They know what I'm saying while they do so. All right, while they keep your back to you, while they walk by like they're oblivious to your presence, you're witnessing the mental instability in the same way that the amplified audible noise of the demon in 55 is exposing mental instability. And you are aware of exactly what's sitting over your apartment building, and you will be criminally liable for what's sitting over your apartment building while you are helping and engaging in the government system in furtherance of murdering and kidnapping them and gang stalking in plain view like the demon just did. He's going to federal prison. He's in units 33 through 64, and that's impunity of all of them. All right. The entity is doing so while they create light activity inside of the venue while they cross path. Okay. That's the P.O.C. where the entity is keeping a fake sun, and that is, again, AVANATH Capital Management, in custody of minor children while monitoring my genitalia. This is a sex offender that's wearing the logo of AVANATH, and Daryl J. Carter and the AVANATH Capital Management Company is going to be prosecuted for this very impunity and malice that I document, and they are gang stalking with the demon in 55. It's an ongoing cooperative effort, and you know that.
Okay, that's how you know what is malice, and that's how you're looking at and understanding what is a group stalker. They are creating activity. They are doing so in relevant position. They're group stalking, and they're doing so, not just them, because they're 18065. I'm going to get them. They're going to federal prison, but so are they next door. Okay, that's a group stalker crossing path, loitering in the presence. All right, this venue is right next door to Alvarado Gardens. This is called relevant positioning. They're in relevant position to what is an environment that's specifically maintained. Winning a light source. Be clear to what is an environment that's specifically maintained. Winning a light source.
All right, so this is where the fake sun is stationary. This is unit 41 where you see at Woodside Senior Apartments, the fake sun is over the same apartment building where you saw it at 8 o'clock in the morning. You saw it at 10:40, 11:40 in the morning. You see it at 3:30 in the morning. 3:30 in the afternoon, where the entity is engaged in gang stalking with the Ontario Police, which is the city of Ontario. That's the state of California gang stalking while this stationary presence, and that is AVANATH affirmatively engaging in the P.O.C. by crossing path, creating light activity, and doing so with impunity. The entity that is gang stalking under the fake sun is maintaining hovering close surveillance on communication devices, and this is, again, Linda Reyes exhibiting impunity. She's going to federal prison as a gang stalker working at a facilitating venue where you have no constitutionally protected rights whatsoever. The malice is inherent to that pattern of conduct. You have two venues that are masquerading maliciously as private residences. This is the government's execution of a targeting system amongst American citizens who are unsuspecting of it. And this is a facilitating venue by virtue of showing the specific environment, and the demon-possessed population that you see walking by with their backs to me as though they're oblivious, while the demon in Unit 55 is engaging in that pattern of conduct as well, not oblivious, based on the specific environment, based on the engineered light, based on the fake sun, based on the state's gang stalking pattern of conduct as well. But the entity continuously doing so, keeping your back while you're gang stalking, representing companies while you're gang stalking, living at an apartment and working at an apartment complex while you're gang stalking in furtherance of murder on behalf of the government. That's why you're going to federal prison. That's evidence of impunity, what I've been documenting and narrating throughout this video. And that is, again, the demon wearing, pushing the refrigerator, creating light activity and crossing path, while my voice is the audible activity, while impossible light activity, that's a psychological torture through stalking with impossible light while that demon crosses path. That is speaking to the same sex offender that lives right here in unit number 41. Okay, where the fake sun rises and sets, and AVANATH Capital Management is going to be held civilly and criminally liable. This is what companies are doing throughout the entire state of California. It is entirely malicious. It is showing the population's knowing and intentional engagement in that targeting system. This is where the entity is gang stalking through the hallmarks showing helicopters and planes, which is exactly what I documented under the same phenomenon of a fake sun hovering over my bedroom window. And no demon is ignorant. No third party, in other words, that is demon possessed, is ignorant about that reality. I am exposing it, and you are witnessing their mental instability as they engage in very foolish conduct, gang stalking the federal prosecutor in front of the federal court. They do so on an ongoing basis. This is the same presence when you're crossing path in the parking lot on a wheelchair. This is the same presence of that fake sun at 8 o'clock in the morning. That's somebody that is worthy of losing their federal housing benefits, prosecuted as a violent sex offender and a domestic terrorist, never to be able to collect housing benefits again, never to be able to get past a credit check, a background check, without the arrival on that criminal record as a terrorist and as a violent sex offender, which is what federal group stalking monitoring is. And the entire venue, all 144 units, is being prosecuted, and this is serving to prosecute the entire state of California. That's how you have that pattern, which is that which exceeds any ability to maintain an ignorant coincidence, if you will, amongst populations in two entirely different regions, where the entity engaged in the same thing, rising and setting a fake sun. That's the significance of the entity in Unit 55, the demons in Unit 41, the demons in the Latino male that walked by first before AVANATH Capital Management walked by. They reside in Units 33 through 64, and they do so while the public comes onto the grounds, and the demons in Units 33 through 64 maintain ongoing concerted presence, okay? While laser light, it's not the product of the fake sun. The fake sun remains over the building all day long, and then engineered light, like you saw here, this upright chair, the shadow of it entirely disappears. You see this? The fake sun did not go anywhere, though. It's not sunlight. And that's rapid. This is 20 minutes, but you have 9 hours of the fake sun over one building. So let's be clear again, that which is outside of my bedroom window at what is Alvarado Gardens, built apartment 1806 North Alvarado Street, is not the same natural environment where one sun exists, not 3,000 that would be throughout the United States. It would be far more than 3,000, because you would have to have another sun on, for example, Euclid and Hope Boulevard for it to be over Hope Boulevard, like I'm documenting as you look at my evidence regarding what the entity was doing with the fake sun in 2021 when I was sleeping at the museum. All right. When I was sleeping in the car, and then the entity was monitoring under a fake sun as I went then to Upland, California. And you will also see as I traveled into Fontana, as I traveled to Chino, there is no sun that's remaining stationary over building. This building right here, where units 33 through 48 remain. This is the placement of that fake sun because the system of surveillance remains underway. That's why it's there. And it's the direct evidence of stalking. In addition to that, you're looking at what is a bunch of psychopaths whose mental illness is put on full display, because you do not look innocent while you keep your back to the targeted individual under the fake sun and an engineered light. That's where you are looking at the psychopath that is a murderous and violent sex offender. Nor does any stalker have to look at you or acknowledge you. All of this is legally irrelevant, but this is what the malicious rely on. The fact that you have to know their name under traditional stalking rules. The fact that you can't live where you are in order to be prosecuted for stalking under traditional stalking rules. There is, under traditional stalking rules, this whole circus-like environment with regard to a fake sun that's remaining over one apartment building for 9 hours also doesn't apply, but it's proven beyond a reasonable doubt. It's factual information that's prosecuting this entire property, the entire property. All 144 units. Just like the entire venue under the fake sun that remained outside of my bedroom window, speaking to the fact that the venue was stalking me in concert with the LAPD, that's the state of California, notably using the same instrument intended to psychologically torture, traumatize, terrorize, and harass, both in the workplace and in my private space, which under the Constitution, it remains a private space. That is where I'm subject to surveillance at a facilitating venue, absent any warrant or probable cause. And everybody living there and working there is going to prison. And speaker companies, Maria, Carlo Lopez, Juan Carlos, Selena Robledo, those that are gang stalking with the Los Angeles Police Department, with the people of the state where I remained, and doing so also with the corporate office that is many of whom I spoke with on the phone. And as also, I took a plane and visited in Northern California where I got their images, and you're able to see, if you view the evidence, of the people of the state who are going to federal prison. All right. And the entity engaged in the elements of monitoring from the corporate office by being on the phone with me under the fake sun that remained over my office all day long, while the LAPD flew in circles over my office, flew over my head while I'm at work, flew around and around the property all day long while a fake sun remained over the venue. And on the days when I was off of work, this is where the entity kept the fake sun right over my apartment, because this is distinct from being over my office, and all of it is distinct from being over the demons in units 33 through 48, where all demons in units 33 through 64, these two buildings right here, are physically surrounding, while the entire entity shares in activity creation, which is exactly what you witnessed in this video, while they are pacing. They're pacing, just like here in Los Angeles. This is pacing under the fake sun.
Be clear, understand.
Let me rewind some so you can see she walks from her car next door in the apartments, getting out of their vehicle, going to the mailbox. These demons are walking under the fake sun. They're pacing around. And that's what AVANATH Capital Management, the demon that is the Latino male with the ear situation is doing. They're pacing one after another, crossing path, and they're also doing so on Vine Avenue and on G Street. It's not just on the property where you're engaging in the elements of monitoring. None of them are under the sun. None of them are in a natural environment. They are all aiding to what they know, also pursuant to what they know I'm documenting about all of them. I'm not just prosecuting Woodside. I'm not just prosecuting Daryl J. Carter and AVANATH Capital Management. I'm not just prosecuting Linda Reyes and every demon-possessed gang-stalking terrorist employed by AVANATH at Woodside. I'm prosecuting the entire state, the entire city of Ontario. It is the removal of Paul Leon. It is the disbanding of the Ontario Police Department. Besides the fact that the entity engaged in kidnapping, and the LAPD proved what the Ontario Police Department were doing and continuously engage in with notable impunity. That's speaking of how many years the demons who are gang stalking with the Ontario Police and the ways in which they've been exposed, because you have those that are going to be disbanded, they're just done with law enforcement, but many are going to prison. And the amount of time that they're going to prison is directly relevant to what I continuously document. So while the entity at Woodside is acting with impunity, gang stalking, no state government is going to threaten the life of an American citizen and proceed to engage in terrorism in the same way that the federal government would take seriously anybody with a bomb and blowing up a building, which is an act of terrorism that everyone readily recognizes. And no state actor, no terrorist is going to persist that I'm going to blow up more buildings, right, even as you capture me on video. I don't care. I'm going to blow them all up. I'm going to kill them. I'm going to threaten all of them with regard to that. It's the same legal analysis regarding federal group stalking and monitoring, and that's exactly what the state government continuously does while it acts vicariously through the people of the state at Woodside Senior Apartments. And the evidence of that is this light activity, and it is the maintenance of a fake sun over a very specific building at one address, which is a facilitating venue, not a private residence. And while they are monitoring the evidence.
The light is appearing today. Yesterday, when I showed you the pattern of the blinds that was appearing, multiple shadows of the blinds that were appearing, and also appearing on this wall over here. And in addition, you also know you're aware of the fact that at nighttime, light coming from anywhere on the ground is not going to create the pattern of the blinds here. When you're looking at what's supposedly sunlight here, but I want to show you this. Here's my shadow that's appearing up here as well. And it's more than one shadow. Okay, that's how you know what it.
Okay, sunlight is not reflecting off of the windows to appear on the adjacent apartment building, and it's also not piercing through and then creating your shadow on the inside of that when it's hitting and piercing through that window and creating an upright shadow and shadow elevated above me like I'm documenting. But this is the POC that I'm documenting. The entity's pattern of conduct with this engineer light, it's not sunlight, is that which is prefacing stalking and stalking in your face. And the more that the entity engages in terrorism in the face of an American citizen, the longer that those demons that are gang stalking are going to federal prison. The more damages that gang stalking corrupt company and every corrupt company acting with it, i.e. facilitation, they're going to be prosecuted civilly and criminally, and federal prison is not removed off the table. Where you're gang stalking with the police, where you're acting with systematic and an ongoing repeated basis, you're going to federal prison. Just like I documented smart janitorial employees, just like I documented universal waste employees, just like I documented any other gang stalker acting with LAPD in real time, and I captured it on video, and they're going to prison for that. It is the same rules that apply.
Malice, and that's how you're looking at and understanding what is a group stalker. They are creating activity. They are doing so in relevant position. They're group stalking, and they're doing so not just them, because they're 18065. I'm going to get them. They're going to federal prison. But and they're doing. That's how you know my shadow. That's coming from. You also know you're appearing, and also a pattern of the impulse This is manifesting on the shade in the back in the on the shade on the building. This is the light source over the property. The address.
So right here, this is where they're pacing. They're on the sidewalk, they're pacing, walking in opposite directions. This is what Woodside Senior Apartments is doing while I am capturing video. They're monitoring the evidence, and they're also still monitoring me. This is a terrorist act by an entity, and it's also a violent sex offense while I'm inside of a private space. And you were also comparing the fact that the fake sun is over my bedroom window, the address being 1806 North Alvarado Street in Los Angeles, 90026. And at AVANATH Capital Management, Woodside Senior Apartments, the address is 408 West G Street in Ontario, California, 91762. All right. There is no shared natural environment here, but you have what is the supernatural character of the environment, which is within the pattern of conduct by those that are in that environment. And they engage in it in your face. They don't look at you. They don't talk to you. And if they do, they will even address you as though they're perplexed by what is it that you're talking about while you're looking at a stationary light. So you are dealing with those that are very much a threat to themselves and the public. It's a national security concern, and it is speaking to what is necessary. Mental asylums. You're talking about mental examinations, you're talking about federal prison, and pro-long term, because the pattern of conduct includes obstruction of justice. So I want you to pay attention to the entity that is monitoring evidence. That's what they're doing when they're pacing around under the fake sun that's over my bedroom window.
Alvarado Garden, maintaining, again, concentrated presence where I'm at inside of my apartment. And you're also...
All right, they're like roaches, they're like ants, they're pacing around monitoring the evidence. And this is, again, capturing the P.O.C. while it's remaining over this specific building in alignment to me. And just to remind you, this is what I documented this morning, what I continuously document, which is that pattern of conduct where the fake sun is remaining over all manner of engineered light.
I'm walking, you can see on this wall, right? This is engineered light that's shooting horizontally. My magnified size of my hand upright on the wall, excuse me, that's in front of me. Yeah.
All right, this is what I documented at 11 o'clock. 10:53 a.m. is when I started this video. It is currently 3:28 p.m. where the fake sun is over me at the same apartment. And that is, again, a 600 square foot apartment where demons are throwing their bodies around and pacing around, and it's creating amplified crackling. That's interference with quiet enjoyment. And it also is in the engineered light where the entity is also monitoring the evidence. That's the state government's interference with the federal investigation, with its federal case. And everyone's subject to federal prison. Everyone going to mental asylums, everyone engaged in the ongoing collateral harm, seeking to profit from my murder, assuming my identity, trying to have me framed for crimes that I didn't commit, falsely alleging that I'm dead when I have been alive the whole time and I've been documenting where I've been at. If not kidnapped, then I was subject to what is gainful employment while I was subject to the pattern of conduct of federal group stalking and monitoring. All of this evidence surrounds the entity for which the entity is going to be liable while it's still seeking to federally, engage in what is the interference with that federal investigation by virtue of gang stalking while I'm capturing the video. While the impossible light activity appears and disappears. This is the appearance of this light activity that's upright inside of the apartment. And then you'll see as I walk outside, the engineered light is also hitting the window and it's appearing on the ground. That's speaking to impossible light activity. That's speaking to the conduct of what these demons that are walking around outside is stalking in an American citizen's face. Where you're walking by, you're not ignorantly walking by and just minding your business, where the engineered light is of this character piercing into the depths of an apartment. All right. Where I'm showing this pattern of conduct. This is the malicious psychopaths who act in furtherance of murder. This is exactly what's happening in my bedroom in Los Angeles.
Engineered light that's again appearing. This has nothing to do with someone.
All right. While the entity is maintaining engineered light that's both creating a magnified size of my shadow in the depths of the living room, and it's also creating engineered light that surrounds the property. This is where the fake sun is over the same address today at 11. This is where I'm capturing that P.O.C. Now, where the entity is keeping this fake sun at 11 o'clock in the morning till the present, which is after 3:18 in the morning. In the afternoon, it's currently 3:30, and this is where the fake sun sits. All right. This is where an entity is gang stalking, and the entity that is doing so on a 24-hour basis is doing so with a legally relevant amount of what is impunity. All right. Everybody living at the apartment complex is engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring. 144 units filled with what are gang stalkers, and the entire property is going to be federally prosecuted for that act of terrorism in concert with the city of Ontario that is practicing this targeting system, and doing so with impunity and using all of its resources, spending millions of dollars and targeting me and worshiping my genitalia and seeking to obstruct justice by thinking that somebody that has come this far in the evidence and gone to this extent to publish and continue documenting, that you're then at some all of a sudden is going to, monitor your way out of being documented. These are psychopaths that are going to prison. The airport's being shut down. The police is being disbanded. You have many of them going to federal prison. And the demons in units 33 through 64, who you see pacing under the fake sun, monitoring evidence in real time in the face of the federal court, where you're recognizing the significance of that ongoing loud noise violating quiet enjoyment, when you're recognizing the significance of pacing around under that fake sun while I'm in the process of capturing video, which is evidence speaking to that which defies nature, referencing the malice of that government that's targeting an American citizen, which is ordinarily unsophisticated and ignorant about all of the ways in which it's being targeted in order to falsely depict their character. That's what equals federal prison. Okay, the entity is doing so on an ongoing basis. Currently 3:32 p.m. This is what I continuously document about this demon acting in concert with the ones that are pacing on the sidewalk. And doing so, while I want you to be clear again, what is reappearing is the shadow of the chairs as you're kind of looking at what is laser light conduct. None of this is sunlight. And it certainly isn't sunlight while this fake sun remains over my bedroom in what is Los Angeles, California, at building 1806, apartment number 6. Where I'm looking at a fake sun hovering down over, this is a covered window still that I have, a covered window, a covering. It's hunkered down in order to be seen because the entity is stalking under a fake sun that is not high up in the sky space. It's hovering over. And this is where it remains. So I just want to make sure that I document that. This is the P.O.C. The entity engaging in that pattern of conduct. Let me just go ahead and conclude this video while the entity is maintaining that specific environment. And you are looking at what is the upright chair and the shadow of the chair that's appearing and disappearing while the fake sun has not gone anywhere. This is where AVANATH Capital Management is intentionally gang stalking with the demon in unit number 55, where you are walking and it's not going to interfere with quiet enjoyment, where they are walking around both in wheelchairs and on walkers, but they're also capable of engaging in earthquake-like conduct and doing so with the uncanny ability to match the timing of whatever it is that I happen to be documenting, and doing so in concert with the government that likes to participate in that psychological torture program, in that ongoing harassment and terrorism, which is a federal offense committed by a company that's engaging and shall be prosecuted, shall be recognized that companies are committing sex offenses where they are gang stalking with the government. All right. And that's what AVANATH Capital Management is doing while I'm capturing the supernatural. The sun that's over my bedroom window is not creating any sunlight under a covered patio ever, nor at the same time when it's at the remaining over me in Los Angeles. This is where the shadow of the chair speaking to impossible light activity. All right. This is where I want you to see. This is my shadow appearing upright. The illumination of engineered light. This is light that's lining the door frame. This is engineered light that's reaching underneath into the apartment building to appear on the floor on the inside of an apartment. That's speaking to impossible light activity, and the entity is doing so while my shadow is appearing. Everywhere that I'm walking, it's creating what is an ongoing illuminated let me show you 1 second. An ongoing illumination while you have engineered light that's coming through, and in the fake sun is at the same exact apartment. All right. This is the P.O.C. They're all gang stalking. The demons in Unit 44, gang stalking with your children. These are the same demons where they're doing so with the Ontario Police Department, doing so with these same children at 11 o'clock in the morning. All right. This is the entity that's testifying that they don't want their kids anymore. Okay. Here is the fake sun here. This is federal stalking. And this is also criminal surveillance, and it's violence against women. Those that are worshiping the genitalia of a woman that does not welcome or invite that sexual attention, also in custody of minor children. And this impunity is evidenced through that maintenance of that fake sun and that activity creation and surrounding with the demons at Unit 44. That's a stalker. All right. Doing so while they know what I'm doing. And you know that they have that knowledge because of that which is not over my apartment in Los Angeles. That's P.O.C. That's the city of Ontario using the children as a means of activity creation. That's not sunlight. You can see it just appears out of nowhere. And this is, again, Title 18, Section 22618, subsections 1 and 2. And this is AVANATH Capital Management. The employee lives here, and everyone in that household, all occupants are engaged in the P.O.C. Daryl J. Carter and AVANATH Capital Management, all the executives are civilly and criminally liable for what their property is doing, while that sex offensive federal group stalking monitoring is underway. And they use these same children at 11 o'clock in the morning. While it's here at 11, and here it is at what is 3:36 p.m. That's P.O.C. All right, engaging in a sex offense together. They're all pacing around also while my panties are down. All right, that's the sex offender that is engaged in federal group stalking monitoring. That's the city of Ontario versus the city of Los Angeles. That's Los Angeles County versus San Bernardino County. That's Los Angeles PD versus the Ontario PD. That is the entity going to federal prison at Alvarado Gardens versus the entity going to federal prison at Woodside Senior Apartments. As you are comparing their ongoing impunity and their malice, their federal stalking conduct, that is what they knew while they continuously engaged in it, monitoring evidence, interfering with the federal investigation, where it's going to be evidence used against them. And this is prosecuting the entire state that is engaged in what is domestic terrorism and psychological torture, federal group stalking and monitoring. Okay, it is again what is currently 3:36 p.m. This is where the fake sun sets as well. All right, this is POC.